Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We praise God, the creator of everything. We witness he's one alone, having no partners. Nothing comes to him except to serve him. He rules alone, not needing anything. And we say for his is the religion. For his is the praise. For his is the prayers. For his is the fear of trembling out of reverence and respect for the one who has originated, designed, evolved, created, sustained, and has power of all things. And we salute his most honorable and generous messenger and servant Muhammad ibn Abdullah, to whom the Holy Quran was revealed 14 centuries ago. The believers, Muslims, I greet you, assalamu alaikum. I want to just start this brief talk today on the Jumu'ah, at the Jumu'ah prayer. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he created the human being and he designed the life for us. Our life is our spirit more than the body. The life is more in the spirit. The body is more transport. It takes the spirit where the spirit needs to go. So I want to just mention a little something from this surah. It's called the light, but I just want to read the English part. I just want to make some brief comments on the light. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The parable of his light is as if there were a niche, and within it a lamp. The lamp enclosed in glass, the glass as it were a brilliant star, lit from a blessed tree, an olive, neither of the east nor of the west, whose oil is well nigh luminous, though fire scarce tested. Light upon light. Allah doeth guide whom he will to his light. Allah doeth set forth parables for man, and Allah doeth knoweth all things. Allah said the thing, Allah speaks the truth. I just want to say a few words just in the vein, in the contents of the light. And as the surah said, Allah is the light. He's the creator of light. His word is his light, his guidance, his revelation, his reality. But the light is just not for seeing alone. The light is also healing. You know, like the sun. The sunlight not only lights and warms, but it also heals. So I wanted to speak in the vein of the light, because I was thinking about Fajr. The Fajr, how the dawn comes in, and it gradually comes in with the light. And at that time of morning, I think the nature, I'm saying this in the nature, I'm saying the light is in the nature. Why is it that almost automatically, when you're a human being, that you want to rise at a certain time in the morning? And how come it is that in nature, I'm talking about how in nature, that certain other creatures want to move at that time of morning, just before the light, just before the physical light comes in. We're talking about the physical light, we're talking about the sun, right? Because it's the center. The sun is the center of everything that we that for the life that we have, the Allah made the sun the center for the life. It's a protection, and it's the light. It's for the life. It's the center, and everything orbits around it, right? Everything orbits around that sun. Earth orbits around the sun. All the rest of the planet orbits around that sun. But I'm saying what I'm trying to say, and hoping that my logic follows this logic, that the light before the physical light is a light that's from the soul, that's in the human nature. Because before the rooster crow, why? Because he's the protector. He's the protector, and he's a spiritual bird. Now he's the first one to rise in the morning, and he's the protector. But what rises before he rises? The human being. And the human being rises what? Allahu Akbar. Allah said he's the light. He's the light. The human being rises with Allahu Akbar before the physical light comes. Why? Because you got to acknowledge the one who made the physical light possible. So our soul makes us get up in Fajr. Most of the time, if you do the Fajr for a while, you don't have to see the clock. Most of the time, your soul will wake you up for Fajr prayer. And I know I have been sleeping before Fajr prayer, and I'll have a dream, and something in the dream dropped something heavy, and it woke me up. Oh yeah, something in the dream, something fell, something crashed, or something hit, and all of a sudden I go, oh man, it's time for Fajr. So I'm saying this is in Allah put this in the nature, because the nature was created before the creation was. Nafsin Wahida was created before it was a physical creation. And the soul was created before there was a body. The soul was here before there was a body. Obeying God before there was a body, the soul was already obeying God. So as I'm saying, something in our nature at that time of morning makes us get up. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has designed us. He created us to be the protector, the custodian. He created us to be the custodian. He created us to be to look after His creation, to be the authority under Him. So I wanted to say that because I notice a lot of foreigners that come here now, a lot of people, immigrants, we call them, and they still bring the rooster here. They although it's apartment building, it may be Trump Tower. But if they live in there, they got chickens in there. They got you can hear the rooster crow in there. Yeah, they bring it back because they're close to nature. They're used to this. They're used to handle. So the sun, the sunlight regulates our life. Light regulates our life. We don't just have to say the sun. We just say light. Light regulates our life. We don't say we get up before the sunrise. We get up before the light, before there's light. We look outside to see if there's light. If there's darkness out there, we know we can pray Fajr. So what are we looking for? We're looking for the light. And the light is the guidance. The light is the intelligence. The light is the intellect that illuminates before anything else does. So and look at this. We say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Now, is that direct light? Or is that indirect light? Did Allahu Akbar come directly through this revelation, through this Quran? Or did Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, is it the result of this Quran being recited? It's indirect light like the moon. It's a result of the Quran being recited. The Quran was recited a long time before there was a dawn. The Muslims used to pray. There was no Adhan. There was no Iqamah. So the Adhan and the Iqamah is indirect light like the moon. The moon don't have direct light. The moon has indirect light. The sun has direct light. So I'm just saying that, following some logic here of how Allah had put in our nature. And how when our enemy wants to really weaken us, the enemy weakens us by going after what's in our nature. Like in the cities. Look how that long they keep the light on at night. It don't even get dark in some places in the city. It don't even get dark. So this is interfering with nature. You don't even want to go in and go to bed if there's too much light outside. And you know, as a young man, I'm coming up here, South Carolina, I used to wonder, how come they used to, when we used to have the dances and everything, how come they started dancing so late? You know, I used to be going to bed when they started, I used to love to dance. But when we go to New York or Rock the Palace, they don't even start the dance at 11 o'clock. I'm used to being about ready to go to bed at 11 o'clock. So wait, what is this doing? It's interfering with nature. It's interfering with nature. See, taking you out of your nature, but gradually, right? It's not saying it, but it's gradually taking you out. It's gradually taking you out of the pattern that you're normally in. So what? So we can put something else in there. So we can put something else in there. And this is why this is how come Allah wants us in a structured life like our salat. That salat structures our life. That salat regulates our life. We have something that structures our life and regulates our life. So, you know, we can't be thinking about just anything and everything because we have a structure for our life. And I'm saying this is why in a society like America, even Muslims come here that's been practicing Islam for centuries, and they can't deal with this environment over here because it takes them out of their nature. You know, I work with Muslims, I meet with Muslims, and they say, you know, brother Hameed, I haven't been to Jumu'ah in over a year. You know, and I can't imagine. You know, I think if I'm in the hospital and I'm not seriously hurt, you know, it's not life-threatening, I'm going to try to find me a Jumu'ah. I got to have the Jumu'ah prayer. I got to have somebody. I got to have that pattern. It's like part of my life. I got to have that pattern. It's already in my pattern. If I don't have it, I want to know, you know, I know something that's taking me out. So this is the light. The light is in the life. The life is in the light. Because where's the light coming? The light is coming from here. When you're there for Fajr, the light is not coming from somewhere anywhere, but from here. Your intelligence make your body get up. Your intelligence make your body get up. That body they slowly don't want to get up, right? No, you say, no, you got to get up. You got to get up. You know, I might have to stretch it a few times to get ready to get some of the cranks out and all that. No, but you got to get up from here. You got to get up. Because the life that's in here, that life that life has a pattern that it has to obey. It has to obey that pattern. So praise be to Allah. But I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking how at Fajr prayer, how I read about George Washington Carver, and he never called. You know, he's like a little after slavery. And I don't know if he ever was exposed to Islam. I doubt it. He was just out of slavery. But I read that he got up every morning at 4 o'clock. And he made some kind of prayer. He would go out in the woods or whatever and make a prayer. They say he always said, "Oh, Mr. Creator." He used to call God the Creator. So I'm saying, what would make George Washington Carver get up at that time of morning? By himself. I think it's in the nation. And what I'm saying is that, brothers and sisters, this is what we have to fight for. We have to fight to stay in our nature. This is why the Muslims, we're obligated to establish a community, to establish an environment that helps us stay in our nature, so that we're going to come out of our nation and try to be something that we're not. And we're thinking we're Muslims, and we might be worshiping Satan. You know what I'm saying? Because of what? Because the life is in the spirit, whatever spirit you're in. Whatever spirit you're in. And if you're in the spirit of the life of this world, then that's who you're worshiping. That's your religion. If you're not in the spirit of the Quran, of the Sunnah of the Prophet, are not in the spirit of al-Islam, not in the spirit of being decent, not in the spirit of standing up against injustice, not in the spirit of standing up for what's right and what's intelligent, then what are you worshiping? Because Satan is, Allah said about Satan, he's an enemy. And he's put here to prove that we are not worthy of the great responsibility that Allah has given us to be the custodian, to protector over his creation. That's what he does. And and I'm reading this article, Imam Muhammad, and he was talking how, he was talking about the soap operas. And how years ago, now I remember, I guess 60 years ago now, maybe more than that, because I remember my grandmother. My grandmother had a television looking at the soap operas, as the world turns and all that. That was back 60 years ago. But Imam was saying at that particular time, if you mentioned soap washes things, soap things making things clean, right? But if you look at the soap opera today, it's not washing anything clean. As a matter of fact, it's anything but being clean. Yeah, you watch the soap opera now. It's inviting people to indecency, to wickedness, to sin, pervertity. But look how Satan did it. He did it by starting off, when you started off something innocent, he gets in it and he takes it to the extreme. And you end up what? You end up out of no nation. You end up out of God's plan. You end up worshiping him. So in al-Islam we say what? The religion is for God, right? Yeah, the religion is for God. And if we don't have that spirit, if we don't have the spirit of al-Islam, we have a spirit of coming together and trying to live a decent life, trying to establish a life that would take us out of society, then we're not living the life that Allah wants us to live. We have to fight. You have to fight for this life. We're the only creature that has a subconscious. And I don't know if many of you understand what a subconscious is. This is what makes us the human like what we are. Nothing else has a subconscious. But what is it? What does the subconscious do? The subconscious takes in everything. The subconscious takes in everything. It's like a recorder. It's like a computer that's on all the time. It takes in everything. And with Muslims, this is not 1,400 years ago. This is 2018 or 19 we're living in. The Prophet made a prayer and peace be upon him 1,400 years ago, and he's teaching science. People might not think it's religion, but science. He said, before you go to sleep, dhikr Allah. Dhikr Allah. Why do you think the Prophet would say that? Muslims, we have to think. Allah said that's what the benefit is. Thinking, right? The benefit is thinking and pounding on it. That's why we're talking about the light, because Allah is saying He brings us out of the darkness into the light. But Allah said He created darkness and the light. That's how come when the sun goes down, we pound it, right? That's a good time to sit and think and ponder and try to understand things. Allah said that's the best time to make prayer and praise. And we got to understand prayer is education. That's what prayer is education. That's why I come with the Fajr prayer. That's the only prayer. We say Hayya Salat, right? Come to education. Hayya la Falah. Come to cultivation. Come to education, come to cultivation. Education, the prayer is education. And this is the only time we say it. It's the only time we say it is when we rise in the morning. Why is it? Why? Because the subconscious now, the conscious mind has been taken away. The subconscious has been alive all night. The conscious mind is taken away. The subconscious has been activated all night. So now that the conscious mind is away, now we got to order that subconscious what to do now. So higher life select. Education, come to education. Higher life select, come to cultivation. Those things are important, dear Muslims. Because the reason why the Muslims and immigrants or anybody come to America is because they don't understand the environment in America. The environment is speaking. The environment is speaking. The radio, the television, the environment is speaking. It's speaking. How do you think our children got in the situation they are in today? We try to be good parents. We try to be good parents, but it's not enough to be good parents. We have to follow what Allah has set up through Muhammad the Prophet. As Muslims, we got to know to make money, we got to make enough money so that we can spend time with our family. We don't make money just to buy jewelry, to buy me a brand new car, a brand new house, or a fancy clothes. We make money for the human aspect of it. So we can spend time with our family, spend time with our young boy. Can't let him run out here and don't know what's out here in the world. We talking about money. And if they think money is not in Islam, why do you think we got zakat? It's the third pillar. The third pillar is the first pillar of action. The others, I can say I wouldn't there's no God but Allah. That's lip service. I bet when Muhammad is serving the mission. But will I give my money? Will I say, listen, I love Islam and I love this community. It can't survive without my money. Marriage has this religion, right? You gotta have money to get married. You gotta have money. You gotta get a sister something. She don't want no sad story. She don't want no game. You gotta go in your pocket. You gotta give her something. Before the marriage is legit. So we have to understand that this religion is not about us Muslims not eating pork, not drinking liquors, and not taking intoxicants. No, this religion has a responsibility on us to build a model community life. It's not about not eating pork. Plenty of Christians don't eat pork. Plenty of Christians don't drink liquors, and they celebrating Easter this weekend. And I'm not throwing no stones at them because some of them live better lives. I'm not the judge. But I'm saying that that we have to know the world that we're living in. We have to know the world that we're living in 2019. We have to know the world we're living in. This world requires that you try to educate yourself. This world requires that you have to have knowledge of this technology. And you gotta know this world. This world exploits everything. We fought to get free. First of all, from the chains. The second of all, from the plantation. We fought to get free from that, right? So we get free. So Satan says, okay, I'm going to give them all a job. I'm going to give them all a job. They want freedom. I'm going to give them all a job. And while we all working, then I'm going to come in the house through the TV, and I'm going to take the children. I'm going to be the parents. I'm going to take the children. Some of our children we don't know today, right? We come in our own house, we don't even know our own children. Because somebody been feeding them, somebody been teaching them, somebody been taking them, because we don't have the means necessary to be able to stay there with them and raise them as Muslims do. We talk about not what Brother Hameed said. We talk about what Muhammad the Prophet would be saying today. This is what he'd be saying. He said, this is Islam. This is Islam. And Islam, you know that we know the men, we're responsible for bringing the money in. And we also know in America, the man can't make enough money to bring enough money in. So they make the wife have to come out of the house. But when I'm saying Islam is brother, we got to get together. We got to get together and make some money, make some decent, we talking about some legitimate money, legal, lawful money. We're not talking about drug money. We don't want drug money. We don't want gambling money. We don't want none of that. But we're talking about getting together and making legitimate money. And the prophet told us how to do it. Business. The prophet told us how to do it. He's the one who set the mall up. You can't go to Medina. You can't get into the city unless you run into the business. That's what sustains the city. So I didn't want to come in with a whole lot of, I don't like, a lot of recitation, but I want some understanding. I want to know how to live this religion and have some effect on our lives. I don't like to hear the Quran being recited and then there's no light. There's no guidance. There's no understanding. I come away and there's no understanding. That's not Islam. So this is why, I chose that topic of the last Allah. I don't know if I'm going to have the energy today. I've been a rough week for me, but you have to fight. I'm trying to fight with it. But look, brothers and sisters, we got to know that Allah obligates us. He obligates us. And we got to get together and be intelligent, like the rest of the creatures on this earth are intelligent. We had a rough winter, right? And I don't know how much snow we had this winter. And I said to myself, I'm going to ask the question, where were the ants? Where were the ants and the bees all this winter? They can't survive cold weather. What was they in this winter? They just going on nature, on instinct. They got sense enough to know that in the wintertime, when it's cold on the top of the ground, it's warm down there. It's warm. Go a certain distance in the ground, say 39 inches below. They call it frost line. Go 39 inches below the frost line. It's warm down there. Now don't say, well, I'm going to live down there. No, don't try to live down there. But I'm just saying, we got to understand that that's what the education is about. The education is about knowing how to plan your life, where no matter what situation comes up, no matter what the physical conditions are, no matter what condition come in the environment, you already plan to progress your life. You already planned ahead for that. And we just coming into it. We babies in this religion, but we were taught to think. We from the nation of Islam. We were taught to think. Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to think. So we think, Ramadan is coming up. Ramadan is coming up. And I was saying to my wife the other few days, the other days, I said, last 10 days of Ramadan, Allah said we should be going to itikaf, right? I mean, some of us should have enough money where we don't have to be working them last 10 days. We should have an intelligentsia. We should have people who want it in the area of education, in the area of politics, in the area of culture, in the area of business. They can take them 10 days out and be among themselves, planning some kind of strategy, putting some kind of intelligentsia together. We don't just look at that 10 days and say, well, what Allah got you the last 10 days for? Just to pray all the time? No. To plan. To come together and unite with you collectively, like the bees do. They don't try to make honey, one or two bees, get a little click and say, we're going to make some honey. No, they don't go that way. You got to have all of them. Ain't going to be no lazy one around here. And ants the same way. One getting up at 10 o'clock in the morning. No, you got to come up out of there at Fajr time. Praise be to Allah. But I mean, I just want to say, the Muslim, this is what makes out of Islam the religion it is. It's a common sense religion. We don't just go in the Quran and get knowledge just to sit around and talk to each other about it and to see how heavy we are and got nothing to show for it. Got nothing to show for it. And I'm not criticizing either. I'm just saying I'm just saying what we got to do to change the situation. Coming out of our community, we don't control the business life in our community. We don't control the business life in our community. Even when we was in the nation of Islam, we did control some of the business life in our community. Most of it. Most of it. We can't even find We can't even find a corner store now that the African American Muslims own. And I'm not criticizing. But when I also was thinking on the light, and also reading where Imam Muhammad said the life is in the spirit. See, life is in the spirit. We got to have the spirit to get up. You got to have the spirit to get up and do what you got to do. Once that human will comes alive, that human will wants to feed on something that's going to make you get up and do something. And I used to wonder as a young man, when we used to sell Muhammad Speak newspaper, and I was in my 30s, and some of those men was in their 60s and their 70s, and we would go into projects, and they could go up down the stairs as fast as I could, and they in their 60s and their 70s. What was driving them? What was motivating them? How come they had that kind of life in them? They had purpose. They had purpose. They had something we wanted to accomplish, and we wanted to do it together. Now I am in my 60s and 70s, and I think about that. How did man? And you know what? I'm not gonna stop. They talking about me retiring, but I mean, when you gonna retire? When I can't do anything. When I can't do anything. As long as there's life, I want to be doing something. This is what I believe. You know. So praise be to Allah. So that's what my thoughts were on the Muslims. This light we're talking about. This light is intelligence. This light is intelligent. Allah is the light. He's the one who was responsible for everything. That's guidance. There's light in His guidance. But Allah also has light in each one of us, in the soul, in the nature. There's light. And this religion is not built on the pattern of what's out there. The religion is built on the pattern of what's in here. That's what this religion is built. It's built on what's in here already. And the education and the cultivation is to bring out what's already in here. And what did Allah say? He said, for each one of us, He have given each one of us something of Himself, right? Allah said He's given each one of us something from Himself. So each one of us has something that we have to bring out. That's going to be a benefit for the human community. So praise be to Allah, dear Muslim. It's a beautiful time. We don't have to get sad watching TV and see what all the news and everything going down. Yeah, there's a lot happening, but there's a lot of good happening too. They don't report the good, and they fabricate a lot of the bad. I can tell you, the media. I love good media. I don't like the false media. And there's no way they're gonna tell me that they had this cathedral in France. And as Muslims, we definitely do not applaud that somebody burnt that cathedral. It's caught on fire. We don't applaud that, because Allah told us, asked us, we're supposed to want the same thing for the Muslims, for the Christians, that we want for ourselves. But then they're going to report on the news after that big fire, they catch some man in New York with four gallons of gasoline going to the cathedral over there. Now they can't make me believe that. I don't think nobody that crazy. I don't think there's nobody out here. I think it's a fabrication myself. Maybe they get money donated. But I'm saying, that's why I'm quite sure the prophet was here. He wouldn't be getting his news from NBC, ABC. If the prophet, prayer of the peace be upon him, here. I'm quite sure the Muslims would have their own newspaper. They would have their own voice. They would have their own way to speak to their people. That's only intelligence. Why do you think we fight so hard to keep that Muslim drum? That's our voice. That's our voice. And ought to be able to speak freely here. So Muslims don't just come to this freedom in America just to do what we want to do. We have a mission here, and I pray Allah bless us to. The prophet. I'm gonna quote the part. The prophet says, "None of us will enter paradise unless we first believe. And none of us will believe until we practice loving one another. Now, I'm just going to give you my kind of logic on that. I guess if I say to my wife I love her, that's going to be interpreted more than lip service. She won't want to know where the money at, where the money to pay the bill, where the money to pay the rent, where the money. Yeah, I'm just saying. When we practice loving, the practice prophet said we should practice loving one another. How come we don't spend our money together? How come we don't get together and spend our money together? To me, that's one way to let us know we love each other. We put our money together so that money just be going to anybody out here. So I think that's Islam. That's the Islam I know. So we practice love that way. And plus we make progress that way, right? Yeah, we get what we need. So I pray Allah, you can accept where I'm coming from with my logic today. And I pray Allah that He bless us to continue to be the good Muslims that we are. We better Muslims than we think we are. Because you're in America. Believe me, that's just not anywhere. If you come to Jumu'ah in America, you try to be a good Muslim in America, you're some of the best Muslims there is. Rabbana, Amanah, Fakbalana, Hamdan, Rantak, Mean, our Lord, we believe. I should give us our sins and mercy upon us. As best of those who have mercy. Amen. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wa salatu wa salam wa Muhammadin Rasuluhu Kareem. Praise be to Allah. I just want to kind of conclude this. The Muslims, I just want to say a few words on our community life. And Allah said the religion is for Him. And we know this is the hope. This is the hope of our father Abraham, community life. Although it's the community of Muhammad the Prophet, but there's a millah of Ibrahim. It's a hope of Ibrahim to have a community that we establish, that we have our own standards, we have our own principles, we have our own way of doing things. What I mean is more just, it's decent. And I think, from what I'm seeing here, that Muhammad the Prophet left this community in Medina as a model for us. And when Imam Muhammad mentioned that we're not just Muslims that don't eat pork, don't drink liquors and stuff like that, that we should be working for community life. I'm trying to see what a community is. What a community is. We should have our own businesses. We should have our own schools. We should have our own transportation. We should have everything that we will need. And Imam also mentioned this. We should start with eating halal. We all eat every day. As long as you're alive, you're going to be eating. That's a good way to start. Why don't we start by making sure that we eat halal, that money is going to stay with the Muslims. That money is going to stay in the Muslim community, so we have money. Where are the schools? Where are our schools? You know, my children, all of my children went to Sister Claire. I have 8 children. All 8 of my children went to Sister Claire Muhammad schools. Under the Nation of Islam, when we call it W.D. Farad God. None of my children call W.D. Farad God now. And they went to Sister Claire Muhammad school. So something good is happening there. I see one of the teachers, well, you see, the Imam and all them teachers, principals and all here. But that's one way to have a future, is to save your children. So we need that, dear Muslims. We need to concentrate. And then Imam made, I'm going to come close this. Imam made this point. We have to realize how society is made up. I used to see this in the Quran, you know, Gog and Magog. I had no idea what the Gog and Magog was. But the Imam was explaining this. That there's people in the community, in society, that upholds law and order. They want a civilized society. And they work to try to keep a civilized society. And there's another group of people that don't want civilized society. They call anarchists. I guess I'm saying the name right, anarchists. They're people that just want chaos. They want to rebel against everything. They want the society to be confused and all up, a lot of chaos. And this is Gog and Magog, and I said to myself, this makes a lot of sense. That this is society, and you see what happens in society. You see there's certain people want to uphold law and order, then there's some people want to go rebel against everything. They want to be free to do everything, anything. They want to be free to do anything. Go against God's word, be a homosexual, go against God's word. Anything they want to do. Permissive sex, anything. And how come I'm mentioning that? We have lived through that. This is the kind of society we came up in. And if there's another kind of life, I want that life. And Islam is that life. I want that life. I want this life. I don't want that other life. I don't want that life where you do whatever you want to do. Be whatever you want to be. I want this life. And I think we all want this life. Yeah, the Imam was saying, y'all Jew, my Jew, Gog and Magog, it's just, I guess, intelligent people and just the rebellious people. They want to go against everything. And I'm getting a little older now, but I still got some fight in me. And I'm just saying, they want to fan racism and all that. I don't want to fight. I don't fight racism. I don't by taking out the racist. We know racism has to be fought with education. But if you have to take a sucker out, as an individual, you have to do what you got to do. But you can see that this day and time, 2019, everything they can confuse the public, they're using it. Anything that can confuse the public, they're using it. They use racism, they use classism, they use anything, religion, they use whatever they can to keep chaos. Because the message of Al-Islam is getting to the ears of the people. It's getting to the ears of the people. And they're accepting it. And they're fighting harder against us now. And I'm just saying, that should be another reason, brothers and sisters, for us to come together to be more united in this day and time. To be a little more united. Those of us from the Nation of Islam, we used to fighting. We used to standing up against racism. We had to do it just to have the religion. We know there's people in this world that don't want us to have anything. They don't want the Muslims to have anything. The Muslims in Europe are treated bad. I'm just going to say bad. I'm going to say treated like we was treated years ago, but they're treated bad. I don't know why they take that. And I think so much pressure is put on the Muslims that sometimes they want to be westernized. They prefer to be westernized than to be a Muslim. His name may be Saeed. He said, he called me Sid. Call you Sid? Call you Sid? What are you talking about? He don't even want nobody to know his name is Saeed. But Allah says in the Quran, we've got to be firm. We got to be firm. We love Allah. We're going to worship Allah. We're going to serve Allah forever. I don't see anything to be afraid of. I don't see anything to be afraid of. Matter of fact, I'm not used to wearing kufi, right? I'm not used to wearing a kufi. But one of my close friends passed, and he left these kufis to me. He left these kufis to me. I'm not a kufi wearing Muslim. But I say I'm going to wear this kufi. And I see now a lot of people, they see this kufi, and you can see, they can identify you as he's a Muslim. Yeah, I'm a Muslim, so what? Yeah, I'm a Muslim. And if you know what Al-Islam was, you would probably wish you was a Muslim too. But yeah, no, we have to stand. This is the best life. This is the best life, so we have to stand now. We have to stand now. And Muslims are not afraid. I'm talking about male and female. I mean, we had the Craig Committee. I guess, man, you know what might be going on over time. I'll cut it. We had the Craig Committee where we went against this image, this white God that got on the cross, right? Yeah, and Imam Muhammad, he had a program. We went public. We went against that image. We had to keep the sisters. The sisters wanted to be on the front. I said, sister, wait a minute, let the brothers get on the front. The sisters were out there just like we were. The sisters have a lot of fight in them. They want what's right, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid. Muslims are not afraid. Yeah, they went against that image. They say, hey, this thing don't belong up there. This white man don't belong up on that cross. He don't belong to be. He shouldn't be associated with the divine. So praise be to Allah, dear Muslim. So you see, who the savior for the world is going to be Al-Islam. That's why they don't want us. And it's not that it's personally they don't like you. They don't like truth. They don't like right. They don't like to obey God. That's what it is. And Allah has purchased us. He said, we his fighters. We his fighters. And what do we get our reward? Paradise. That's what we get for our reward. Paradise. We got a future coming. So we just stay firm, and I pray Allah to just continue to be good Muslims, brothers and sisters. Just continue to be good Muslims. And Allah's blessing us. We just don't know it. Allah's blessing us. All this hell all around us, and we still got our sanity, and we still got a will to want to be right, and want to be innocent, and want to go forward. That's a blessing. I think if I didn't have this long, I'd be insane. I'll just go get me, I guess, an AK-47 or whatever they have out there, you know, and try to find out where the Ku Klux Klan having their next meeting at or whatever, and I'll just go there to make sure I take somebody out that I know is not right. But I'm just saying, but you know, that's suicide. Muslims, we not suicidal. We righteous. We stand together. Allah will bless us forever. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Allah, give us a good in this life and a good in life to come. And favor us from the fires of sin and favor from the hellfire. Ameen. Good coming to Salah.